So welcome, Dr. Danarius.
Thank you for having me, Miss Beasley. How are you?
No, how are you? How are you? You're my guest, so how are you?
Wait, I'm amazing. How are you?
You're amazing. I am doing well, but I know you're amazing because you're there in Texas now and your weather is like 70 degrees, you said?
You got it. You got it.
Oh my gosh, it's not fair. We're here in Chicago and it's cold. And so I'm hating. I'm hating a little bit.
It's not you, it's me.
I love it. Are you just walking around saying this to people? Because I need to add this. So what do you mean when you really say it's not you, it's me? Is that like shade kind of, or what? Tell us what that is.
Oh, it's funny. So typically, you, as you know, or as you may be aware, when people typically get into a relationship, most times it depends on the individual. They tend to say when they're over a situation, they say it's not you, it's me. And it's been like ringing in my ear. In the beginning, I didn't like that motto, but the more I reflect on it, and the more I begin to get to know Danarius, I realized it's not you. It's really me.
It's really me. Oh, so this was like a self-reflection.
You got it. You got
self-awareness type of. Okay. So while we're here on the title, tell us about your new book. It is amazing. Me and my team, of course, we have an opportunity to read through every book that comes through our desk. And so I can tell the people all about it, but I want you as the author to tell us about the book. What inspired you to write your book?
Wow. So first, I freaking love this book. I love personal shout out to my publishing company, November Publishing Company, simply because they have taken great care of me. This is my second book publishing with you guys, and
that's a beautiful cover.
I love it. Everything that you guys do, you do it with perfection. So I love it.
Thank you.
I appreciate you and your entire team for your service and your continued support.
Thank you
for everything, because I want to be an author without you guys.
Oh, yes. And as Danarius said, this is the second book with us with November Media Publishing. And he's always a joy. I remember when we first connected, maybe like 3 years ago. It was definitely before the pandemic.
Yes. Post pandemic.
Yes, definitely before. And I just remember our first conversations, and you were the same. Like the energy was still the same. Just who you were, it's still consistent. And I'm sure people close to you can appreciate your consistency in that. So I know this book is a lot different than your last book. This is more like you said we're not calling this a devotional, but this is definitely something that readers can pick up and find inspiration daily from the different things you write about. So what inspired this particular book? Like, what happened in your life to inspire the topic? You know what? It's not you. It's actually me.
It's actually me.
It's actually me. What inspired?
It's actually me. And I mean that wholeheartedly. What really sparked this book was when I was back in Detroit. I walked into my house. I'm very spiritual. So when I walked into my house, I turned the doorknob, and when I walked inside my living room, I literally saw a version of myself sitting in Chinese style in the middle of the floor. And what I saw different battles, different things happening and occurring around me. And when I was sitting there, it seemed like they were just distractions. I wasn't involved in them. I wasn't a partaker in them. I just instantly heard God say, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm here." He's like, "Yeah, but who told you to be here?" I said, I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I'm just here. He said, in this season of your life, I need you to move. And
Wow.
literally when he said move, I didn't know Austin, Texas was in the future. I didn't know any of this was going to occur. Matter of fact, the pandemic haven't even started. And when I heard God say move, I said, okay, I will move. And when I get here, the pandemic started and things of that nature. And for me, I'm an extrovert and I love people. I love people. I'm a servant, but I love people.
Yeah.
When the pandemic started, I saw myself going into isolation. And,
Hmm.
and when I saw that isolation taking place, I thought it was my demise. I thought this was something I literally thought this was a trick of the enemy
Oh,
to
wow.
set me up. But God, what I believe I heard God say, this isolation is to protect you, to ensure that you don't become contaminated. And
Mm.
I said, all right. And when the more we was having this dialogue, this conversation, you see, it become easy because when you have a relationship with God, those conversations just take place.
Right.
There's not there's nothing formal that have to take place. Those conversations just take place. And the more I sat there, I began to hear it's not you, it's me. And I think what began to transpire is that God began to show me in my isolation.
Oh,
Most time people say isolation was my protection, things of that nature. It was just that God began to pull back the layers and began to show me Danarius. And what I loved about that and what I appreciate about that is that God wanted me to see my authentic self. And
mm.
what tend to happen is that most time when you meet someone, you get their representative. You never get that authentic person. When you start dating
Well,
someone, or your friendship, you start cultivating friendships and things of that nature. They give you a version of themselves that they're representative. But one thing about that representative cannot hold their ground because that's not who they are at who they are at their core. And
wow.
so I realized that God can't bless who I pretend to be. He can only
Mm.
bless who He created me to be. And so that's how we found out it's not you, it's me.
Child, let me say that in my Sarah Jake's voice. Child,
Listen.
listen, you said a whole lot there. Two things that stick out to me is showing up as a representative.
Mhm.
That's a whole lot because I feel like for me personally, I went through a transition similar to you where prior to maybe 2018, there was this version of me that I wanted people to see. I don't want to say perfection,
Mhm.
but it was like she's going to get the job done.
Yep.
You know what I mean? She has it all together. Her home is taken care of. Her
Mhm.
business taken care of. You can count on her. As I was running for senator. Okay.
Yep.
And then I fell. I had a fall, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Like I fell and I hit a very low point in my Christian walk and just as a person.
Yep.
And I remember thinking, like, I am tired, literally
Tell
tired
me about it.
of pretending. I'm literally tired of showing up as somebody that I'm not. I'm
Mhm.
literally tired of operating out of works with my
Yep.
relationship with God, with my relationship with other people, where it's like, as long as I'm performing for people, they seem to enjoy me.
Mhm.
But the minute that, I say no, or I say, you know what I mean? Like, this is not how it's going to be. And I show up as me, people start to have a problem with that. So when you start to allow God to pull back those layers so that you can be authentic, how did people around you take that?
Wow. So you hit the nail on the head. I used to be in the previous version of who I was, I used to when I used to say no, this used to be a comma or a but following. I have
Mm,
learned how now to say no, and what I'm noticing people who I'm close to are used to waiting for my next response. But no, that's the complete sentence. I'm sorry, I can't do that.
he
That's
said
not who.
no with a period.
Period. So it's like so when I started doing that, I began to I began to get comfortable with saying no, and it was okay to say no. And I think those who were for me was for me, and they stayed around me, and they appreciated the version of Danarius that was showing up outside of the all the degrees, outside of the great job, outside of the nice cars, the nice house. Because what I realized, my mother have always said to me, you can have all of that and in a split second lose all of it. And so I want I I used to want to for some strange reason I spoke explicitly in the book about serving and being that sitting on a pedestal and trying to achieve a mark that no one clearly defined, and living up to my father's standards, living to my mother expectations, living up to the job expectation. And it was so many expectations, but no one clearly defined them. In this new stage of my life, in this new season of my life, I get the opportunity, me and God get the opportunity to define what that expectation is. We get to define what this next journey is going to be about. And I appreciate it because I got tired of being a people pleaser. I got tired of showing up for everyone else, and what I was realizing that no one was showing up for me. So I had to learn how to show up for me. Like, and I can't. And I think the issue is, and I can't expect anyone to show up for me if I don't know how to show up for myself.
That part.
Yeah. So,
wow, you're saying a lot. So, what does the word authentic mean for you? So, what was the thing that you were doing that was not really true to you? What do you feel like that means for you? That wasn't even one of the questions I sent. It just
listen. So
curiosity.
I love that. So the issue was that I wanted my okay, come on. I wanted my private life and my public life to be the same. So when you see Danarius, how energetic I am now, how I am now, I wanted this version of Danarius to show up out there in the world. And what I was doing, that I was protecting myself out there, but when I come into the four walls of my home, I was just like, hey, what's up? What's going on? But I got tired of doing that. I got tired of holding that version of who I was destined to be back. And I think even in this book, in the book, I speak about how God says he was holding me back for a season. But even now, this is the season that he's launching me into my purpose. He's launching me into my destiny. There's no more holding me back, because now I understand that the more I keep my eyes on God, the more I can see where he's taking me. I used to be so concerned about who was following me, if I won't have enough followers, if someone was, if I was saying the right thing. But God, I heard God say last week, he said, you keep your eyes on me. You can't worry about who's following you, but just know that you're being followed, that there is a generation that's following you. Why you can't see them is because you're focused on me. Can you focus on me?
Are you trying? You're not.
Listen.
Child, you didn't start singing all up on the Life After Publishing. Okay. I'm here for it. We gonna focus. So we know that God can get us all the way together.
Listen, that part.
So I'm what comes to mind right now is when you said you walked into your bedroom and you saw yourself sitting on the floor, kind of like an outer body experience situation. Do you feel like God was trying to show you your identity in him through this process as well? And if so, what do you think that means?
So what I believe what God was doing, he was doing just that, just how you articulated it. He wanted, I've always asked God, create in me a clean heart. Bless me. I want to be the man that you have created me to be. And then in my next voice or in my next statement, well, you didn't call me to do that, or I'm not called to be X, Y, and Z. And so it was like, God, what God was saying, or the battle that was taking place, like either I caught you or either I didn't. Either you believe your call or either you don't believe. And now, instead of me saying I'm not called, I'm now at a place saying, oh, I'm called for greatness.
Mm,
I now understand that I can now say this version of who I am now. If you was afraid of me then when I didn't know who I was, you should
mm,
really be afraid of who I am now. Um, I used to hear people. I work for the Army, and we talk about wars and things of that nature, and so I I, I have came to a place in my life is that where I'm ready to declare war on anything that disturbs my peace.
mm,
And so that means anything, whatever the enemy throws at me, I'm going to declare war. And so when I start writing these books, I begin to see each time I wrote a chapter or each time I start dive into these, I begin to see God to pull back another version of myself and begin to say, oh, this is what we're going to work on. This is what he literally showed me. And I love that. I am excited to say that I love who I am now. I
mm,
appreciate who Danarius is now. I
mm,
love this version, and this version, just like Sarah Jakes have woman evolve. This is a
mhm.
season for man to evolve.
Woo. Oh, oh. So is this a challenge? Are we challenged? Setting a challenge right here
Listen, this is it.
this episode, men.
Listen, man, it's time to evolve.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because our sisters, you guys are out there doing the thing. You guys are working. You are changing the world. And I love that because you guys have the ability to do that. One thing I'm always fascinated about women is that you guys have the ability to give birth to you guys have the ability to give birth to something and to carry something for quite a while. And I love
Mhm,
that and bring it to full fruition. So I think for men to evolve, we have to begin to set the mark. We have to set the tone. We have to get to a place where we are challenging ourselves to show up in the world, challenging
mm.
ourselves to do something different, challenging ourselves to date on purpose, challenging ourselves to ask ourselves what qualify you to carry my seed, and when you carry that seed,
A lot. Okay.
are you willing to bring it to full fruition?
Listen, you said a whole lot. You've been saying a whole lot this whole interview. I don't even know where to begin because I know if I had my sisters in the room, my sisters in Christ in the room, they have several questions. Going back to the place where we are challenging men to step up. I'm going to keep it 100 with you.
Let's do
I
it.
have so many beautiful friends who are currently single,
Hmm.
Christian women, love the Lord,
Hmm.
and there is not a lot of godly men stepping up to
Yep.
the plate. Can you help us? Let us in on what's going on, Danarius, Dr. Danarius. So you qualified to talk about this. What is going on? Because we need to know. I'm gonna be honest. I'm telling my sisters to
Mhm.
go look somewhere else outside of the Black community.
And I don't blame you. You know, on social media, I've been seeing quote that says "date them all." You don't date them all. That's the problem. What I realize, I'm speaking from experience. When you stay focused and when you stay on the road that God has laid for you, the person that God created for you, your partner, you're going to find them on that road. The issue when we start dating them all, we begin to become distracted. We begin to get off the road that God has laid out for us. So I've learned that I've made a lot of mistakes with dating people and getting into these relationships. And what I began to realize is that if I have stayed focused, I would have never met this individual. The issue was that I was not focused on what God said to do. And so, sisters, if the man is not focused, if he's not on the same road, don't if he talking about I want to date them all, or I'm just dating you. No, you're not dating with purpose, or you're not dating with intentionality. We don't have time for that. We're too grown for that. We are in a
Mm,
season of our life where we cannot afford any distractions. And if that
mm,
person is not focused enough to know what he wants at this time in this phase of his life, sisters, move on to the next version. Move on to whoever else that God have in line for you. Yeah, don't wait for someone to get themselves together, because who God has for you will be found on the same road that God have you going into. And the Bible also speaks explicitly, he that findeth a wife, he find a good thing. See, what we fail to realize is the second verse, and he obtained great favor. It's the favor that we get by just connecting with our sisters. It's the favor that we get when those relationships begin to be cultivated and begin to become one. I don't have time to be dating them all. I'm
mm.
dating with purpose.
Okay.
I'm dating with intentionality. And if you're not ready for me, and you're not on this, you're not on this train that I was hopping on, then you're not ready for what God has got in store for the both of us. And like I said, I can't, sisters, if that man is not focused and he don't know what he wants for his life, and don't let him date you to death.
Mm.
I come to let you know. I'm gonna let you guys in a little secret.
Tell us the secret.
There's a 3 mark. There's a 3 month mark. We know within 3 months what if we're gonna marry you, or are we gonna date you to death. Don't let someone date you to death. Do not let someone date you to death, because that's not the
So you're
season
so
that
you're
God.
telling me, for my sisters out there listening, for clarification purposes,
Uh huh.
at the 3 month mark, they pretty much know if we a keeper or if we just they're just gonna keep dating us so that they're
Hmm.
not alone and
Hmm.
until someone else come along.
Yep. Don't let them drag you. Sisters,
Listen.
you guys are worth entirely too much. You if you're focused and you're doing, since you guys are doing what you are called to do, don't let no one get you off the train. Don't let someone get you off the mark. We know within 3 months what we want to do, and
Okay.
yeah.
I have questions, more questions. I guess my the question and you can say I don't want to talk about it if you don't want to, but why are you dating intentionally right now, or are you scouting? Like, what's going on there? The
So
people want to know.
so I am totally single. I am not
Okay.
dating. And
Totally.
I am totally single. I am totally single. You can hit me up on Facebook. Feel free to slide in my DM. No, no,
I love it. Oh, I love it. He said I'm totally single.
I am totally single.
Oh gosh, I love it.
That's because I've learned. I learned within this pandemic, these past 2 years, is that I needed to get ready. I needed to cross my T's and dot my I's. I didn't need to be perfect. I needed to I needed to get ready. I needed to be authentic with who I am. So
Mm,
now when it's time for me to get in this relationship and and connect with my partner, I can now say, hey, I know what I want. I have a vision for our lives. Matter of fact, be, before I even meet my partner, there's a vision that I have in store. And the ideal is that not for her to lose her vision, it's for us to merge our vision and to give birth to that vision. So now
you okay?
that my isolation season is over and vacation
Okay.
is over,
Okay.
listen,
You ready?
this is not a hot boy summer. This is how Sarah Jake said it. This is skin in the game type of summer.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
He got skin in the game.
I got skin in the
He
game.
got skin in
I
the game.
understand what season this is. I understand who I am. I don't wrestle anymore with what I want to do and what I want to accomplish, and if I'm going to date them all. No, I don't have time to date them all. I'm dating with purpose.
Okay. Child, it's just way too much right there. I need to stop stealing Sarah Jake's word, but it was just way too much right there. I need to come up with my own word, but I love it. I love just your energy behind it, because like, though we are talking about this in a very cheerful manner, this is something that, you know, Christian dating in 2022 is a hot mess, you know.
It is.
It's a hot mess. But what I'm hearing from you is stay focused,
Yep.
ladies, and man, step your game up. Am I hearing that from you? Okay.
You're hearing that accurately. Not only should our sisters continue to stay focused, but the brothers have to also stay focused. But they have to put a matter of fact. This is how Olivia Pope said it. If you want me, earn me. And so brothers, we have to stop giving ourselves to any and everyone, and understand that when we put a price on who we are and put a price on our seed, we won't give it to anyone.
Wait. So you're changing the game here.
Yeah.
You're saying, brothers, we don't need to be out here pursuing just anyone.
There you go.
And you keep saying this, putting a price on the seed. Elaborate.
So
the people in the streets want to know what that means.
So the issue is that what I have, and I'm guilty of it. So I'm gonna be totally transparent. I have been guilty of dating them all, or belonging to the streets. I now came to a place in the realizations that I was devaluing myself the more I threw myself out there. And the more people say it's a hot boy summer, or I got another 2 years for a hot boy summer. No, I don't got another 2 years for a hot boy summer. This is the year. This is my year to accomplish it all. To be patient, but also for me to show up. I think what I'm trying to convey is that I need my brothers to value themselves just as much as they want someone to value them. When we start giving ourselves to everyone, and we start giving our seed to everyone from a sexual perspective, things of that nature, the issue is that we're showing that we don't value what God has given us. And if we don't value what God has given us, we're willing to give it to any and everyone. But when when we're staying focused, we know that who this is destined for, we're going to hold this thing and make sure that individual receive what God has for us.
Wow. Well, I am just overwhelmed, and it's a lot of things I need to go back and chew on. I'm sure I'm going to have to listen to this myself over again. But I'm sure we're going to get all type of comments in the comment section.
I'm going to love it.
But I just thank you for, sharing a little bit of your heart with us, because I know we started off talking about your book and how God was kind of using the season, that particular season in your life, to shape you, and thus it birthed a book which now can help other people live, their authentic life. I'm here for the wholeness,
I think that's it. I think I say in the book that this is a wake up call. This is me screaming, wake up! But most times I don't know about any other authors, but when writing a book, when I write it and I first go back and read it, it's directly for me. It's directly it's dealing with me. It's me revealing me. I don't have the answers. I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes. I've done things that I'm ashamed of and things of that nature. But that's my past. And I am wholeheartedly able to articulate what I did in my past and not get stuck in my past. That's the issue. I think now I have grown beyond that, and now that I now know who I am. Not that now. Listen, I now know who I am. I don't have an ideal of who I am. I know who I am, There's a big difference. And
Yeah.
now that I know who I am, I can step into this thing with no hesitation and with no apologies and say, this is my authentic self. This is me becoming whole. And even
Yeah.
on this process of becoming whole, I recognize that at each level I can continue to evolve. I don't have time to backtrack, but I only have time to evolve in this season of wholeness.
Yeah, that is so good.
Because you know what? It's not you, it's me.
So I think that women should start telling the guys who own like those games, like, you know what,
Mhm.
it's not you, it's me.
It's
But
me.
really it's you.
Yeah,
It's
it's
you.
really you. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, before we close, there's some things that come to mind just to kind of tie in everything that we've been discussing.
Mhm.
But when showing up as your authentic self, there are some ways that we have to protect ourselves, right?
Yes.
So for me, what you see is what you get. It
Yep.
meaning I'm going to be, like you said, this person in private and in public,
Got it.
because now the two are matching. Because there was a
Mhm.
time where my private life was not matching my public life.
Same here. Same here.
But also, I'm realizing in this season to protect even that deeper level. And so everyone, though everyone's getting the authentic me, everyone's not getting that level where I'm constantly being pruned, constantly being developed. I have a group of friends who I could send a text to and be like, girl, pray for me. Or I get emotional with I get emotional with when I'm talking about things that triggered me or that do trigger me, because just because we are walking in wholeness now, things from our
Listen,
past can cause a whole trigger effect.
you about to have me throw this book at you. Listen,
Bro, because I'm
that
careful to
right
throw.
there. Listen, that part right there. I I didn't know, even in this process, I didn't know all my triggers. And I'm still learning my triggers. But because I'm learning them, I can now say that's not healthy for me. I need to set
Mm,
boundaries right there.
that's good.
You're pushing me too far. And the great thing about it is those who know you, those who are connected to you, those who know that your purpose and your destiny, they know how far to push you, and they know how far not to push you. And most times, if they care about you, they won't push you to those trigger marks. Those who not invest in your future or your destiny, they would do it and pull your triggers. And then oh, I don't know what happened. I don't why did he do that? Why did she say that? Listen,
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 Linda, I'm fanning myself because
listen,
I personally know some people or
listen,
persons
listen. Listen,
who,
I have lost friends,
oh, that's
friends I have been friends with for 20 plus years, because they wanted to talk to me and degrade me and put me down. And I have always been there to encourage them, uplift them. But until that moment, I got to a place when I start standing up for myself. They wanted to be hands off, like it went from Dr. Jack to Mr. Hyde. Like
oh
no,
wow.
and so now, because I have learned myself, and I now know who I am. I now we have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries is the word for 2022. We have to have boundaries
Whew.
because if we don't have them, people will come and go and run over us. And it's
Mm,
okay to have boundaries. Not only just boundaries with our friends, boundaries with our immediate, listen, I got boundaries in my own family. You got
mm.
to have boundaries. And boundary is not a bad word. It's just when I say you got boundaries, you got to, just like we use no with a period, boundary, period.
Period.
Yeah.
Boundary, period. Okay. On that note, close us out with 3 things we can do to set those boundaries. And then we're gonna
Wow. 3 things you can do. First, honor yourself.
mm,
2, don't cheat on yourself. 3, always take time to reflect on yourself.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, man, you guys, this was just a short conversation that we had with the amazing Dr. Danarius. Thank you so much. I like
Thank
to see
you.
doctor, you know.
Thank
I
you.
don't know
Thank
how many
you.
authors I have that are doctors, but you put the doctor in front of your name, so that's how
Oh
we gonna
man.
honor you. We're gonna honor
Oh man.
you
Oh man.
and
Thank
your
you.
boundaries by calling you doctor because you earned that. Um, so yes, we thank you so much for being here with us today. Please go check him out. We have an amazing feature of Dr. Danarius and his new book on our website at novembermediapublishing.com. You can go straight there and click a direct link to connect with him on Instagram and also get his book on Amazon. And listen, when you get his book, show him some love. Let him know you got it. Leave a review. Go follow him on IG. And ladies, he said he was single, so you have his permission to slide into the
Please
DM.
feel free to come through.
Through. And we just appreciate you. I know that there's so much more we could have expounded on and talked about. So guys, if you want to learn more about him and his mission, please connect with Dr. Danarius. I'm sorry.
You about to call me Dr. D. That
I
works.
was about to call you.
Go
I'm like,
ahead.
no, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna keep it professional on here. Please connect with him. I know he has some amazing things up his sleeves. Get his book, have him on your podcast, have him on your shows. He is thebomb.com. And thank you for being an author. And when we do our opening, we hope to have you come out to the Shy and hang out with us.
Listen. This is bridging that Detroit and Shy type of
I mean, I
love.
feel that. I mean,
I'm here for
it.
it.
Yes, we here. So thank you so much again. And do you have any closing remarks on where people can reach you at? I know we have your IG name in the handle in your name description, but let us know a little bit more about how we can connect.
Beautiful. You can either hit me up on my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. Listen,
TikTok.
that
What you
man
doing
got.
on TikTok? I gotta follow you on TikTok.
Listen, I'm still learning this TikTok stuff.
Okay.
So I got like 3 or 4 posts.
Okay.
But we getting there.
Okay. We're gonna
Slow and
stay in there,
steady,
standing
slow and
through social
steady.
media. Whew,
Hit me up
please.
on all social media platforms, and also visit DanariusHempill.com, my website. Whatever if you guys need me, just reach out to me. I am always here to be of service.
Yeah.
And once again, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you to your entire team. Thank you guys for blessing me. Without you, these things would not be possible.
Oh, we are so honored. I'm here for it. I feel like you're going to be like a career author. So I'm going to wait for that next phone call. That next book coming, and we're here for it. But yeah, we have to get you out to the Shy and do some readings with our audience here. So we got you. But thank you guys again for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to this page, Life After Publishing. Share this video. It was so many nuggets here, so you want to share it, especially with your single girls. Start a conversation. Hit my man's up, my man's.
Please do.
All right.
Do.
He said, okay.
Put a ring on it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Dr. Danarius. And you guys have a good night.
You too. Thank you for everything.
Mm-hmm.